Imagine you worked hard, saved $50,000, put it in the bank, and did everything right. 5 years later, you check your account. The number is still there, $50,000. But here is the thing nobody tells you. That money can now buy 30% less than it could 5 years ago. You did not spend a single dollar. You did not make a single mistake. And yet someone quietly took a third of your purchasing power while you were sleeping. That is inflation, and it is not an accident. It is not bad luck. It is the most effective and least understood wealth transfer mechanism in human history. Every single year, governments and central banks quietly redistribute wealth from people who hold cash to people who hold assets. Most people have no idea this is happening. The ones who do are getting richer every year because of it. Today I am going to show you exactly how inflation works, who it is hurting, who is profiting from it, and what you need to do right now to stop being on the losing side. Stay until the very end because I am going to reveal the one thing that completely flips inflation from your biggest enemy into your most powerful wealth building tool. To understand what is happening today, you need to look at history. In 1923, Germany experienced one of the worst inflations ever recorded. A loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. People needed wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy groceries. Factories paid workers twice a day because by lunchtime the morning wages were already worthless. The savings of an entire generation were wiped out in months. The people who survived financially were not the ones who saved cash. They were the ones who owned land, businesses, and gold. Now, before you say that was an extreme case, let me give you numbers that are happening right now in your life. The United States Federal Reserve targets 2% inflation per year. That sounds small, but 2% per year means your money loses half its purchasing power in just 35 years. If you retire at 65 with $500,000 in savings, by the time you are 80, that money will only buy what $250,000 buys today. Your savings cut in half without touching a single dollar. So how does inflation actually work? When a government needs money, it has three options: raise taxes, borrow money, or print more money. Raising taxes is politically unpopular. Borrowing has limits, so printing money is the easy option. When more money enters the economy, each existing dollar becomes worth slightly less. The prices of goods go up, but your savings stay the same number. Nobody announced a tax. Nobody voted on it, but the effect is exactly the same. Wealth was quietly moved from your savings account to the government. Here is where it gets personal. Think about your salary. Maybe it went up 3% this year. Sounds like a raise. But if inflation was 4%, your real purchasing power actually went down 1%. You are technically earning more money and actually getting poorer at the same time. This has been happening to the American middle class for decades. In 1970, the median American worker could buy a house with 3 years of income. Today, it takes over 7 years. Same job, same work ethic, different outcome. Now, here is the part that makes people angry when they first understand it. Inflation does not hurt everyone equally. It specifically hurts people who hold cash and helps people who hold assets. If you have $100,000 in a savings account, inflation eats it. If you own $100,000 worth of real estate, inflation actually increases its value. The price of the house goes up. Your fixed mortgage payment stays the same. Inflation is literally paying down your debt for you while your asset appreciates. This is why wealthy people almost never hold large amounts of cash. They hold stocks, real estate, businesses, commodities, and other hard assets. When inflation rises, these assets go up in value. Their wealth is protected and often grows faster than inflation. Meanwhile, the average person keeps their savings in a bank account, earning 1% interest, while inflation runs at 3 or 4%. Every year, the gap between the wealthy and everyone else gets wider. Not because the rich are smarter, because they understand this one mechanism. So, what assets actually protect you from inflation? First, index funds. The S&P 500 has historically returned 10% per year, well above inflation. Second, real estate. Property values and rents generally rise with inflation. Third, Treasury inflation protected securities, or TIPS. These are government bonds specifically designed to keep pace with inflation. Fourth, commodities like gold and oil. These tend to rise when currencies weaken. The common thread is simple: own things. Do not hold paper. Here is a practical example. Imagine two people each start with $100,000 in 2010. Person A puts it in a savings account. Person B puts it in an S&P 500 index fund. By 2024, Person A has maybe $115,000 after low interest. Person B has over $450,000. Same starting point, same time period. The only difference is where they put the money. Inflation made person A poorer in real terms. The same inflation made person B significantly wealthier. Three things most people do wrong when it comes to inflation. One, they think saving money in a bank is safe. It feels safe because the number does not go down, but the purchasing power is quietly declining every year. Two, they wait for the right time to invest. There is never a perfect time. Every year you wait is another year of inflation eating your savings. Three, they panic when inflation spikes and sell their assets. This is exactly backwards. High inflation periods are when owning assets matters most. What you should actually do starting today. First, check how much of your net worth is sitting in cash or low interest accounts. If it is more than 6 months of expenses, you have too much in cash. That excess should be working in assets. Second, look at your savings account interest rate. If it is below the current inflation rate, you are losing money in real terms every single month. Third, start moving money into inflation-resistant assets gradually. You do not have to do it all at once. Even starting with $100 a month in an index fund changes your trajectory. One more thing that most people completely overlook: debt. Fixed rate debt is actually one of the few things that benefits from inflation. If you have a mortgage at 3% and inflation runs at 4%, inflation is effectively paying down your debt. The real value of what you owe decreases every year. This is exactly what wealthy people understand. They use fixed rate debt to acquire assets that appreciate with inflation. Their debt shrinks in real terms while their assets grow. This is how wealth compounds faster than inflation. Let me be clear about one thing. This is not about getting rich quick. This is not about taking big risks. This is about understanding the system you are already living inside. Inflation is happening whether you participate or not. The question is which side of it you are on. Every year you keep money in a savings account is a year you are donating purchasing power to asset holders. Every year you hold assets is a year inflation is working for you instead of against you. Now here is the secret I promised you. Inflation is not your enemy. The ignorance of inflation is your enemy. Every single mechanism that makes inflation dangerous for the average person can be flipped and used as a wealth-building engine. Inflation shrinks the real value of your debt. Inflation pushes up the value of your assets. Inflation rewards people who act today over people who wait. The moment you stop holding cash and start holding assets, you switch from being inflation's victim to being its beneficiary. One decision, one account, one index fund. That is all it takes to change which side of this equation you are on. Subscribe to Wealth Decoded for weekly breakdowns that show you exactly how money works in plain English so you can build more of it. See you in the next one.